My sister gave me a helpful hint. She said, go to the bathroom beforehand, and your body language has an amazing effect on how you feel. And so go in there and do some like superwoman poses, do some yoga, some, warrior? So I did that, and instead of using the old trick of picturing the audience naked, which just would have created an awkward moment for us all. Yeah. I work at INNOVATE. That's the hat I'm wearing tonight. And has anyone heard of INNOVATE? We're pretty new. Yeah. So INNOVATE is a community-owned organization, really, that was started by a collaboration between the Nelson City Council through the EDA and also in partnership with NMIT. And our purpose is to build entrepreneurship in the region. Really, we're trying to help create more jobs, but not just any kind of jobs, but better paying jobs. So that's what we do. And we launched a year ago with the first startup weekend in Nelson. Has anyone heard of Startup Weekend? Yeah, okay. So Startup Weekend is one of our 2 big programs that we've rolled out to begin with. And it's a 54-hour event where you come and basically form teams and build a business in the sort of space of 1 weekend, even hopefully build a prototype of your product. And then at the end you pitch, and it's sort of a Dragon's Den type style. And there are winners and lots of mentors to help teams along the way. And really it's a learning program. And then the other main thing that we do is Co-Starters, which is a 9-week business course that sort of a workshop format. And you come 1 night a week for 3 hours, and we go through this program that was developed in Chattanooga and has been now tested around the world. Very similar to what the course that Lightning Lab runs for $25,000, but since we're community owned, a lot more affordable. So that's INNOVATE. I've just sort of stepped in to keep things ticking along as Matt Pesey's just stood down. And how I sort of became attached to INNOVATE was I did the Co-Starters course, and really it changed my life. It changed my approach to my career, probably most of all. So I'm an atypical kind of client for us because I didn't start a business, and I don't run a business of my own, and I don't have any plans to in the near future. But it's really helped my career to be able to think like the boss. So I'm going to talk tonight about the business model canvas. That's the 1-page business plan, which I think if I pass some of these along, you can sort of follow along. Yep. So a lot of businesses, maybe most, have the good old-fashioned business plan, which you maybe had to put together for a bank loan or something like that. And you put a lot of work into trying to predict the future, which of course you can't do. Sits in a desk drawer and gathers dust. This is sort of the anti-business plan because it's supposed to be a living, breathing document, something that is constantly being tested and revised. And really, when you operate your business using this as a tool, you're thinking of your business as a learning organization that is learning how to build a business, not just a business. So you're constantly running experiments and tinkering with all the pieces, shifting. And as you discover something new about what works for your revenue model, because you have this kind of bird's eye view, you can then go back and say, oh, and that affects who I thought my customer was, or that affects my distribution system or my messaging. So I'm going to kind of walk through it just briefly because we don't have a ton of time, but maybe I'll use an example, a fictitious example here to sort of illustrate the different segments. So the first thing we look at is who is your customer, and this is where it's helpful to do that the old exercise of creating your customer avatars and sort of profiling your customers. So you might, in this example that I'm going to use today, we are a raw, vegan, gluten-free wedding cake company. And so when you think about who your customers are, you think, okay, my customers are raw vegans who are gluten intolerant and getting married. And you think about what are the channels that I can reach these people through? What's the kind of language that they use? What's the subculture that I'm trying to connect with? In this case, we're based in Nelson, and so we want our customers to be Nelson-based, and you think about what other groups and organizations are they involved with. The next quadrant is the problem. In this case, pretty simple. Let's say the business owner couldn't find any raw, vegan, gluten-free cakes, and so they decided, I'm going to start a company that makes them. Then you consider what are the alternatives that your customers have, because they don't have to use you. They're already finding solutions or ways around or ways to cope with this problem. So what are they? It could be a cake with gluten that they can't eat, but some people can at the wedding, just not them. It could be a gluten-free box mix cake that they make themselves. No cake, everyone has carrot sticks for dessert. Or there's an expensive online option where they can order a cake like that from Australia, and it costs a fortune to get it sent over here. Next, we look at your solution. This is basically looking at the features of your product or service. In the case of the cake company, a feature might be, rather than having to have carrot sticks, it's a cake that looks like a traditional wedding cake. It doesn't contain gluten. That's a feature. It tastes good. That's a feature. Contrast that with the benefits, the next section. A benefit is how your product or service kind of positively impacts the customer's experience, their life, makes their life easier. So in this case, it could be, you don't have an upset tummy after eating your wedding cake, or everyone at your wedding can participate and have a piece of cake instead of some people missing out. Or you get to feel the warm fuzzies of knowing that your catering for your special event is in line with your values. The next piece we look at is the advantage. What gives you the edge over the alternatives that people are already using? You might be the only vegan, gluten-free wedding cake supplier in Nelson. It might taste better than the alternatives. Your advantage as a business owner is often you and the special kind of skills and experience that you bring to the table. So you might have 7 years experience as a pastry chef at a world-famous vegan restaurant. Next comes your message. How are you going to tell your story to your customers in a way that's compelling? And how is your customer going to hear it? So we might say, this is a section that focuses on the problem and the benefit, because people never really buy based on the features or the solution as much as they buy on the benefits. How is it going to make their life better in some way? So our message might be, now try Nelson's only raw, vegan, gluten-free wedding cake bakery, so all your food-sensitive friends can fully enjoy your special day. Then we go over, if it's a new startup, your startup needs, just identifying the critical things you need, and we talk about the importance of bootstrapping. Because you want to invest as little as possible for as much information about your business model, as much feedback as possible before you take it to the next step. And then again, before you take it to the next step. I'll just close by saying just a little bit about Startup Weekend, since that's what's coming up next for us. So July 1st to 3rd, it's 54 hours. Come along on Friday night. You might have a business idea that you want to have a crack at, or you might not. Either way, you're welcome. Everyone has 60 seconds to pitch their idea, and people form into teams and then spend the rest of the weekend figuring out what is our business model, maybe building a website, maybe building a prototype, going out into Nelson and testing their assumptions, finding their customers, finding out will they pay money for this. And on Sunday night, there's the Dragon's Den type pitch, and the winners are crowned. But really, it's a learning event, and it's a networking event where you meet co-founders and investors and business mentors. And because it's quite intense, you really form deeper connections with these people. So if you are thinking about starting a business or you're wondering how to improve your business, you come away after the weekend with people that you can get in touch with and call on, and that's of tremendous value too.